Hey, we are finally back on the First and Goal podcast. How you doing, Jacob?
So far, so good. Only two of us today. Maybe an improvement later on in the week. We'll see. I'm not going to hold my breath on that, but doing good. You?
Not too bad. It was a lot nicer today than yesterday for the podcast.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's been a little bit of news these past couple of weeks. Not much. We're getting into training camp, so now there's going to be a lot more news. I think that teams officially started reporting today, or
Yeah, I believe so. I think there might have been like eight. I think they do it on certain days. Teams report. Like
well,
not everyone reports at the same time.
I don't know if they started practicing today or if it was just teams started getting into the buildings.
Yeah.
Regardless of what that is, I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of it on NFL Network throughout the week. But yeah, I mean, biggest news obviously of the last couple of weeks, Kyler Murray is getting paid.
He is now the second richest player in NFL history. How you feeling about that deal?
I don't really like it, to be honest with you. He's a small guy. I get he's done really good, and I like Kyler Murray, but the deal is paying a lot of money. That just the more time that goes by, the better Pat Mahomes' contract looks for the Chiefs, in my
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah, what that was 10 years, 501 million, I think,
Yeah,
which
it was 50 million a year, which if I think it was Kyler Murray's making to make 46 this year,
yeah.
I would say Pat Mahomes is worth $4 million more than Kyler Murray, if not a lot more than that. So I think that the Chiefs may have been the big winners of this, even though if you would have asked me the day they signed it, I would have said it was probably the dumbest deal you can make.
Well, I think it's also prorated, so obviously it's not like he gets $50 million a year, which if they could have done that, the first
Yeah.
couple of years of that deal would have looked honestly right now not the greatest, but towards the end he's making $50 million compared to what maybe Josh Allen could be making at the time.
Yeah, the salary cap's only going to keep going up. The
Yeah.
NFL is the number one sports entertainment in all of the United States. I won't say the world because of soccer, but I don't know. I feel like the Chiefs are getting better and better, like value out of that deal as it goes. But yeah, I know Kyler Murray gets paid, and I'm not sure it's uh it's going to be worth it for them, to be honest with you.
I mean, I think they had to make the deal. The Cardinals were kind of forced because you keep him, you're not going to be able to. If he hits the open market, a team's going to be willing to pay him that much.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't do what who is that a couple of years ago that kept franchise tagging their quarterback?
Dak.
That was Dak.
I think it was Dak, yeah.
Yeah, so I
Which,
don't
I mean,
think
it
you
all
should do
ended
that
up
with
working
it.
out for them too, but I don't think it would have worked out the same. When you're Arizona, you're not Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
So
Plus, Dak, he can take a little bit less money. He's going to make it up in the long run being the Dallas Cowboys quarterback compared to Kyler Murray being the Arizona Cardinals quarterback.
right.
Dak, after his career, is probably going to get something in a booth or something on TV if he wants it, just for being the Cowboys quarterback.
The endorsements in Dallas are a little bit different than the endorsements in Phoenix.
Yeah.
So I get it. Same day, Josh Rosen, former first round pick quarterback the year before Kyler Murray, he gets signed to, I believe, a league minimum deal by the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the Browns need to do something at quarterback because let's get into that. It looks like Deshaun Watson is going to be suspended. They haven't handed anything out, but I'm pretty sure the Browns were made aware of something that they're bringing in all these quarterbacks. So I think it's going to be at least a year.
So it looks like and we'll get into more position battles and we'll add this one to it. It looks like the position battle there is going to be Josh Rosen versus Jacoby Brusset, at least for 6 games, if not a whole year. I think it's going to be the year, but if you're holding out hope that maybe it's only going to be 4, 6, 8 games, whatever it may be, then that's the quarterback battle. But I'm going to assume it's the season.
I think it's going to be at least a year.
Yeah.
It's pretty much admitting your guilt when you're settling all this.
Uniform news comes out. The Cincinnati Bengals released their white helmets. Did you see those white helmets yet?
No. I mean, I'm seeing the Eagles reveal alternate black helmet. That looks actually really good.
The Eagles uniforms look really good.
Oh, the
Cincinnati,
Cincinnati Bengals. I see the white helmet. I kind of like that. It
I love
depends
it.
on what they do with the jersey.
They're going
With
to go
that,
white. It's going to be all white.
the Jets. I mean, it looks like the Jets, but with matte black on it.
Yep.
And then the Bears one, I thought it looked bad, but that was just me.
I don't mind it just because it's going to go with the orange jersey, white pants. And it's only going to be 2 games. So if you don't like it, then who cares? It's a Thursday night football game and a game inside Dallas. Live with it. I think it's only going to be a 1 season thing too. I don't think that's going to be a regular thing from the Bears. But, well, who knows with the Bears? I never know what they're doing. We still don't have Brinkser signed to a contract. The second round safety out of Penn State.
Brisker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Packers finally finished up signing their whole draft class, signing Christian Watson, I think later this past week.
Yeah. So we'll see. Training camp again starts tomorrow, I believe, for the Bears. So if he doesn't get signed by tomorrow, he's going to be holding out because he's not on a contract. Other than that, I think that's really all the NFL news.
I will say this. I feel so bad for John Mechie,
Yes.
the rookie wide receiver for the Texans. He's coming off of, I believe, an ACL tear, and now he's just diagnosed with leukemia. Thoughts and prayers go out to you, man. Hopefully you can get through this and continue your career. Because I know without that ACL tear, there was talk of him going early second round just with that talent. And he's a good solid receiver. Maybe not the most athletic, but
he's very fast, or at least was before the SEC championship ACL tear. But good news is it's the most curable form of leukemia. Obviously, that's not the news that he wants to receive, but that is the news that we have. It's the most curable form, and that it may only cause him to miss 1 season. So
yeah, it's likely diagnosed with treatable form of leukemia and is unlikely to play his rookie season.
Yeah. So thoughts and prayers out to the Texans. It's another big hit for the Texans as well. But I think he'll get through it just because of how young he is and how athletic he really is. I know that doesn't really play a part in everything, but his health was in good, like outside of an ACL tear, his actual health is pretty good.
I also, I mean, if I'm the Texans, I think they're tanking this year for either Bryce Young or Stroud out of Ohio State.
Yeah, I would say so too. And it makes sense for them to do that. Lovie Smith is the new head coach over there. Whatever. We'll see what goes on. Yeah, so I guess the rest of this episode is just going to be the top 5 position battles according to Sportnut. Is that what it was?
Yep, Sportnut.
And then we'll add in, we'll start it off actually with it. We mentioned it earlier. Rosen versus Jacoby Brusset, because that was not on that list. Quarterback for maybe 4 games, maybe a whole season. Cleveland is primed to be a possible playoff team, possibly a real contender. Obviously traded away Baker Mayfield, who took you to their first playoff in, I believe, 20 years. So if it's the choice between Rosen and Jacobi Brusset, who do you think is going to win this battle through preseason?
So Brissette has experience with playing for quarterbacks that have been suspended.
That he does.
And I think he won him 2 games when Brady was suspended.
Yeah, but I mean, I also take that with a grain of salt because you're winning games with New England.
Yeah.
He also has starting experience in Miami and Indianapolis.
I'd probably go Brissette just because Rosen has not looked good in his career.
Hey, he told everyone that everyone was going to regret not drafting him, those 8 teams ahead of him. And so far, I think that's been the opposite. I think the only
team that regrets drafting him is the Arizona Cardinals.
And maybe not, because they still ended up with Kyler Murray the next season.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure he's going to make it much longer. Probably career backup, but that's okay. I think I'm going to lean with Brissette too, just because of the experience and just because this team can't be risking it with a younger quarterback that isn't experienced. They're still a playoff possible team.
Yeah.
And I think Brissette just gives you the best chance to win.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think You got to go with Brissette just because they're in win now mode too. This roster, you need to be getting to the postseason. I think if Stefanski can't get this roster to the postseason, even with a quarterback without Watson for a year, which we're speculating, I think his job might be in jeopardy.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, now going on to the sports nut one. First up is Kenny Pickett versus Mitch Trubisky for the Pittsburgh Steelers at quarterback.
So real quick, there's Steelers fans that are already telling me that Mitch Trubisky is going to lead this team to the playoffs. There's no thought of Kenny Pickett. I'm kind of in the same boat, maybe not the playoff part, but I think that there's no thought of Kenny Pickett, at least to begin the season. I do think that they brought Mitch in to be the starter. I think he will be the starter week 1. I know you drafted a first-round quarterback, but there's been plenty of occasions where you don't start that first-round quarterback, especially right away. So I'm not going to say that there'd be any surprise that Mitch Trubisky is the week 1 starter out there in Pittsburgh.
So by Steelers fans, do you mean someone that is on another podcast with us?
Yes, and I've heard it from others though.
Okay. So yeah. So Kenny Pickett is the hometown kid. He played in Pittsburgh. He's not even changing stadiums to go play in his pro ball. I think this roster, I think, is in a rebuild. This defense is playoff worthy, but this offense outside of their skill positions really isn't there. They need to fix the O-line. They need quarterback play. I mean, I saw something that Najee Harris is preparing for 500 touches this year.
Hey, and that makes a lot of sense if Mitch Trubisky's your quarterback.
So I think I could see Trubisky winning this outside of camp, but I think Pickett is going to end the year as the starting quarterback in Pittsburgh.
I do think it's going to be Mitch all year. I don't think he's actually going to play that badly, but I don't think he's going to play well enough to win them enough games. He does get Deontay Johnson along
Claypool.
He will have Najee Harris.
He has Freiermuth.
Yeah.
What's the other? I'm trying to think of the other receiver out there in Pittsburgh.
No longer have Juju.
That's what I was thinking of.
But I don't know. I think that Mitch is going to win the job. I think he's going to start all year because the O-line is so bad. I don't think you're going to throw out Kenny Pickett and stunt his development. I think you're just going to let him take as many practice reps, hopefully get to see the speed of the game a little bit, and just move on from there. I don't think there's a question of who the long-term guy is going to be here, but for this season, I think it's going to be Mitch for 17 games, barring injury.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mitch is going to be the week 1 starter, so I guess he wins the camp battle. Next up, is James Washington versus Jalen Tolbert for the Dallas Cowboys. And their explanation is the Michael Gallup contract this offseason signaled that the Dallas Cowboys' long-term confidence in their number 2 receiver. However, the young receiver is still recovering from a torn ACL he suffered at the end of the regular season. If he'd play in week 1, there's a clear path to snaps and targets for someone else on the depth chart. So I guess this is going for their number.
They'll be going for number 2
to start the year and number 3 overall.
Yeah. I think it's going to be James Washington just because he has that experience. And this is a team that's, again, needing to get off to a hot start with how good the Eagles looked on the year last year. I think James Washington makes the most sense because, I mean, quite frankly, I've never really heard much of Jalen Tolbert. I would say James Washington's probably an easier choice of the two. He played with Big Ben. You're now going to another veteran in Dak Prescott. It's not a sexy pick. It's going to be a lot of CeeDee Lamb to begin the season. You just need James Washington to be serviceable until Michael Gallup can come back, or you guys sign someone that maybe gets released during training camp. Maybe there's a surprise cut that they just jump all out on top of. But I think if that's your options, I think you got to go James Washington.
So in this article, they go Jalen Tolbert outproduces James Washington, and their big reasoning is James Washington has 1,626 receiving yards in 4 NFL seasons, and 725 of that came in 2018.
Yeah, but like that's a dumb argument. He was playing behind Deontay Johnson, Claypool, and Juju. He was a fourth
Not at the
receiver.
time. He had, I think in 2018, he had, I believe that was AB and Juju. So yeah, he was the number 2 for I think a season or maybe
Maybe less.
for a season. But I don't know. I think, yeah, I got to go with James Washington to start the year at the number 2. I think Dak is just going to have more trust in him. And the quarterback position is all about having trust in your wide receivers. And obviously, seeing how Mike McCarthy calls an offense, they're not going to be handing the ball off to Zeke very much. So they need a guy that's going to be able to catch the field. And I think James Washington gives them a little bit downfield.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just makes most sense. I'm going James Washington over there. Into number 3, we have the amazing quarterback battle between Drew Lock and Geno Smith. Who would have thought that Geno Smith would be in a QB battle this late into his career after seeing what he did in Buffalo?
And New
then
York.
Who would think that Drew Lock would ever have a second chance outside of Denver? So,
oh my God, is this the worst quarterback room in pro football?
It's up there probably with the Falcons.
I'd take Mariota over these 2 any day.
Who's Mariota's backup?
I don't even know.
Well, Mariota's going to win that job, I'm pretty sure.
They didn't draft one, did they?
I don't believe so. I'm looking it up. Who do you have winning this battle while I do that?
So neither one's a good option.
Oh, Desmond Ridder from Cincy.
Yeah, so that's 100% a better QB room.
And Felipe Franks is their third string.
I almost take Felipe Franks over both these two.
This is going to be miserable to watch.
So it's a good thing Seattle has a lot of first-round picks.
It's also amazing that they're going to still be throwing DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett at this point. Neither has been dealt. They'll be saved. Their numbers won't look as bad. They also will have Noah Fant.
Yeah, I mean, they'll have people to throw the ball to and Chris Carson out of the backfield.
I'm going with Drew Lock.
I'll probably go with Drew Lock just because I guess he's shown more or he has a higher potential at this point than Geno Smith.
I mean, you have to imagine they're going to be drafting a quarterback next season or trying to sign someone.
This is another team with the Texans that I think is going to be in the CJ Stroud and Bryce Young sweepstakes. So honestly, do you go with Geno just because you want to tank?
I mean, I feel like you could say the exact same thing though about Drew Lock.
True.
Like that name is interchangeable right there because you could just say because you want to lose every game. Like the two of them suck.
I mean, is this a team that you bring in like a Tyrod Taylor?
Is he still in Houston?
Or a Gardner Minshew?
Honestly, Gardner Minshew would be the starter there in a second.
Yeah. And for some reason, the Eagles believe in Jalen Hurts, but
I will go as far as to say that Drew Lock and Geno, neither of them are even top 40 quarterbacks in the NFL.
I think I saw ESPN's list and they rated 40 quarterbacks, and I think Drew Lock was number 40.
Like, that's so bad. I'm going to go Drew Lock. I think that this team's not going to be very good. I think they are going to be one of the top 3 picks in the NFL draft. I don't think DK Metcalf will be there come December. I don't think Tyler Lockett will be there come December. I think they're going to get more picks.
I think there's Tyler Lockett leaving will have a better chance. Granted, the NFL is becoming more like the NBA where players can force their way out. So who knows?
My prediction is that Tyler Lockett is going to end up in the NFC North, up north in Green Bay. And I think DK is going to end up in New England.
Yeah. So with this, they have Geno Smith starts week 1 and Drew Lock takes over in October. Neither one of those sound like very good options to me. So sorry, Seahawks fans. You went from Russell Wilson to this.
I think it's going to be Drew Lock, but that's just me. Into the next situation was actually a critical one. The Buffalo Bills running back committee. I think that's what it's going to be. First off, is it's going to be a committee.
Yeah.
But if we're looking for running back 1 versus third down running back, I think running back 1 is going to be Devin Singletary, if I'm being completely honest, just because I think he gives you more versatility on first and second down. Third down, you're going to want a guy that maybe can get you those yards, can get you a big play. And I think that's what James Cook provides. I think long-term, James Cook is going to definitely be the starting running back of the Buffalo Bills. But for this rookie season, I'm going Devin Singletary to be your main guy with neither one of them touching the ball more than 120 times this season.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I agree with the Devin Singletary. I think he's going to win the job out of camp. He's won it the last 2 years out of camp. And I think he was the underdog 1 year to Zach Moss, which who knows? And then I think James Cook is going to be the third down back his entire career. I think he's going to have a dare.
I take back the 120. Neither of them will average 10 carries a game.
Do you mean carries or touches?
Carries, because I think they'll catch the ball out of backfield quite a bit.
Okay, because I think James Cook is going to have not saying he's the same player, but kind of, I think he's going to have the James White type of career.
Yeah, I think he's going to touch the ball quite a bit on dump downs, check downs, maybe some wheel routes or something. I think James Cook is going to get the ball a little bit here in his hands.
But yeah, I think if you're going with the starting running back, the guy that's going to be in on first down, I think it's going to be Devin Singletary.
Yeah, I think that's just a safe move, and I don't think he's going to touch the ball much. I could see him maybe having a couple games like where he has 13 touches, but I can also see him having quite a few games where he has 6.
Yeah, if I'm a fantasy player, I'm staying as far away from the Buffalo backfield as I possibly can.
Because if they're on the goal line too, they're not even going to hand it off. They're just going to let Josh Allen run it in. Mm-hmm. That's the pleasure you have of having Josh Allen, is even if it's a goal line down, you can pretty much have no one in the backfield other than Josh Allen and still have a threat to run.
Yeah.
So that's probably the second most important position battle to this next one. In Carolina, a team that's in a bad division that could easily compete for a wild card spot. Sam Darnold versus Baker Mayfield. I'll let you go first because where I'm going to go.
I'm going Baker. Sam Darnold, I had all the faith in you. I was a massive Sam Darnold fan almost his entire career. You're just not a good quarterback at this point.
I didn't think
I have no faith in you whatsoever.
All right.
Anymore.
So here's what I'm going to say. And I know it's amazing that I haven't brought up his name once yet. I thought Justin Herbert was going to be identical to Sam Darnold. Obviously, and I have to say this clearly, Justin Herbert's a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. There's no one that's going to tell you that they're the same. But Sam Darnold is worse than even I expected. So Baker, I thought he was a good quarterback for Cleveland. I know he had a bad last year, but he was also injured. I think that Baker gives you the best chance to win there. I think that with the weapons he has, including a healthy Christian McCaffrey, this team could easily go on a run and win 10 games.
So Baker, this is his 5th year in the league, right? Yeah, 5th year in the league. And he was good in years 1 and 3 and sucked in years 2 and 4. So if it continues, he's going to have a good odd year. It's an odd year. So year 5, he will have probably a decent season.
That's good. That's good statistics right there. Let me tell you. I think Baker's going to have a just fine season. I don't think he's going to be a Pro Bowler, but I also don't think he's going to lose them a lot of games. I think he's actually going to win them quite a few games. And if Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, then you have your workhorse. You have everything out in front of you. Ian Thomas, I believe, is still there as tight end.
Yeah, that O-line is shit.
Well, he'll be fine.
Okay, I think Baker is one of the quarterbacks where he needs a good O-line to succeed.
I think he's going to have the pleasure of being able to just check the ball down here. Where I'm not saying he couldn't do that with Chubb, but Chubb didn't have the hands that Christian McCaffrey does. And Kareem Hunt, when he was on the field with Baker, was able to catch the ball. So that's just pretty easy for me to think. There's probably
putting a lot of faith in Christian McCaffrey being able to stay healthy.
I know. I don't think that's going to happen either. There's probably gonna be a lot of plays to start the season while Christian McCaffrey's healthy. That's gonna be CMC and Chuba Hubbard out in the backfield. I think both of them will be on this field at the same time, and we'll see what happens. I think that this team is either going to be 10-7 and make the playoffs, or they're going to be 4-13 and be irrelevant.
This is another team where it wouldn't surprise me if they look quarterback in the draft.
I mean, they traded basically nothing for Baker.
So they traded a second-round pick for Sam Darnold. So technically they have more invested in Sam Darnold.
It's crazy.
But yeah, I think Baker's going to win it out of camp. I think he has DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, which how's that going to work with Robbie Anderson and thin-skinned Baker?
No. Reaction to them possibly trading for Baker was just no with a bunch of O's.
And Baker does not have the thickest skin in the world.
No, but that's okay.
So
I'm sure he'll be fine.
I mean, I'm sure he'll be fine. He's what, 28 now?
I hope. He's got DJ Moore if he doesn't want to throw the ball to Robbie Anderson out of spite.
That might actually be a thing, though.
You know what? That might be good for DJ Moore fantasy owners.
Yeah.
So, all right. Yeah, that's, I think, all the position battles. Can you think of any others just off the top of the head?
I mean,
I really can't. I'm sure there's going to be quite a few that emerge during the training camp that just pop up because they see guys performing so well.
Yeah, I mean, maybe wide receiver 1 in New England.
That would be between Jacoby Myers and who?
Kendrick Bourne.
Okay, well, yeah, you know what? That's why I think DK Metcalf ends up in New England.
I mean, Mac Jones probably had the best or second best rookie season. Had the best rookie year out of any rookie quarterback last year. Him and Davis Mills.
That hurts. This just hurts so bad.
I mean, do you agree with that statement? Him and Davis Mills were the 2 best rookie quarterbacks last year.
Yeah, I would.
I mean, Zach Wilson might have his thoughts on stuff other than football. Like his friends. It was his mom's friends.
He's such a dog, dude. Zach Wilson, dog. I hope when they do like the Sunday Night Football, like when they're like Roquan Smith, Georgia, like I hope it's like Zach Wilson, dog. Just say dog. Doesn't even matter what school you went to. BYU, you're just a dog, dude. Other than that, I think that's everything for this episode. We're going to probably have a second episode this week. Not really sure what we'll talk about. If you guys have any suggestions, please put them in the comments because we're going to try to have a second episode. And I'm not really sure why we're going to have a second episode. But hey, we're here for it. So we'll see you guys later on this week, probably Friday when it gets released. This was released on Monday, recorded Sunday night. Book all your hotels at hotels.com. You guys know the deal. They've been there for us. They'll be there for you with thousands of hotels across the United States and the world. They are the premier hotel destination booking site. So that's everything. See you guys. We'll talk to you guys later.